Okay, I am back with this same propane tank that I repainted. The paint had more time to solidify and cure, or more precisely the primer underneath the paint, because of that Rust-Oleum primer I used underneath instead of Krylon primer, the primer shrunk a little bit underneath the Krylon paint and made it rougher and took away most of the Krylon paint's shine. I was originally just going to recycle the tank and dump it, but then I thought, after all the work I went through repainting it, why would I stop now? I must be a masochist or something, because I ordered a brand new OBD valve, and yeah, it's gonna go right in there, carefully. Yeah. Ooh. This new valve set me back a little under 30 bucks. I got the valve for about $19 on eBay. And then the rest was in shipping, which was about another 8 something. This pipe wrench should get it on there. Yeah. I'm gonna have to put the phone down and two-hand this. It's propped up on a cat tree here. Come on. Now, I am going to put more paint on this tank, but I intentionally did not put more paint on it yet because I want to paint it after the new valve is on, because I know I'm going to scratch up the paint that's on it even more with the wrench and stuff, and now I need some kind of bar to put in it to hold it steady while I work on it. Okay, I found something to use as a bar. I know it looks weird, but it's actually a homemade sword I made back when I was young. I called it the tetanus blade because it always had rust on it. Just made out of a chunk of scrap steel, and probably mild steel at best, because it never held an edge well and it always wanted to bend. But the sheath is made out of a hollow metal handle from a pickaxe, so that should serve as a pipe for leverage. Oh, you little bastard. You want to fight me, huh? Okay. I'll fight you. Alright, I went and got my second wrench. Crescent wrench instead of a monkey wrench, because I made a different angle would work. I mean, both of these are good. Both of these Harbor Freight. Not sponsored, but I just figure maybe if I can get this in here. I just realized that was completely off camera, wasn't it? Sorry, I don't have like a tripod or anything like that. This is why it always pays to have more than one kind of wrench. Maybe if I switch to the crescent wrench from the front here, I might be able to grab it. No, just making it looser. Okay. And now it's on. Brand new OBD valve. Oh shoot, it's not quite even there, is it? me just... Oh, damn. How much paint came off doing this? Yeah, this is why I said I'm going to paint it afterward, because I knew I was going to scrape some paint. It's still slightly off kilter, but so what? Okay, this time I didn't use a plastic bag. I just covered it completely in painter's tape because I didn't have the proper paint last time, but now... I mean, I didn't have the proper tape last time, but this time I got dollar store painter's tape. Works just fine, this kind of thing. The paint that will be going on this tank tomorrow is Krylon Fusion Gloss White. It's the same kind of paint that I put on the outer surface before. Good stuff. Dries way better and harder than Rust-Oleum any day. I had one guy tell me he repainted his van in this stuff and said that it came out looking like a Mako paint job, so I believe that. This vintage tank, it's dated September 2001. You probably can't see it wherever it is. Where is the date? There it is, 9/01, September 2001. I call this the 9/11 tank. I know that might be considered a bit offensive by some, but the nickname is stuck. It's like the paint chipping I caused wasn't too bad. The good thing about this kind of gloss white spray paint is you can touch up some parts with white nail polish and it will hardly be noticeable at all. Okay, I was going to be painting this entirely outdoors, but the weather is not very permitting, so I have gotten the bottom painted. Now all that's left is the rest of the tank. I'll just have to work at it well. Make sure to get all the places where the paint peeled when I was putting the new valve on. I can't look at the phone and look at the tank at the same time, so I keep aiming it away. But yeah, the 9/11 tank is coming along well. That's a good first coat. I'll just have to leave it and come back again later. But I'm probably going to be using all or most of what's in this can. Take my advice, if you are doing this kind of thing on a budget, go with Krylon and not Rust-Oleum, because the results are just better in terms of oil-based paint. There's so many layers of paint and primer on this thing. There's the first layer that was a Rust-Oleum matte white paint that I ended up not liking. Then there's another layer that was a primer that I got, and then another layer of primer from a can I was given by my sister's boyfriend. And then there were 2 cans of Krylon Gloss White on top of that, and now there's the current can that I'm using. That's how much has gone into this tank, not to mention the $30 valve. Yeah, this is not financially cheaper than just buying a new tank like one of those, which were like $75 each. I am doing this simply because I want to because I like this tank. I think this tank is cool, especially with the date on it. And getting another one like it, I mean, aside from all the rust pitting, there was really no dents in this tank. The top part here hasn't been deformed at all, which normally when I see tanks like this old, something is banged out of place, out of shape, and it's not. It's in surprisingly good shape. Okay, update on the 911 tank. It has been 2 days since I sprayed it, and there's still some left for any kind of needed touch-ups. I'm letting the Krylon harden nice and well because in this cold weather the paint got thinner and runnier, even though the can says no run. That only really counts if you're using it in warm weather. But I was able to keep the overspray down as much as possible, and now it's hardening. Whether or not I do any more touch-ups to it, I don't know. It might be good as is, but I plan on letting it sit at least a week while it hardens. And when it's eventually fully hard, I will take it in for recertification. And then I will fill it, and we'll see how much it holds, which will hopefully be more than last time with the previous valve. But this I want to make my primary heater tank for indoors, just because I like the way it looks, and I like the way it handles. They don't make them like this anymore. I guess you could say by propane tank standards, this is a classic! Well, it's done. The recertification is complete. You can see the new sticker down here. The place I took it to, they had no problem putting it through a quick test and slapping a, what are you doing in here? And slapping a label on it. Unfortunately, the old machine that they stuck it into, it didn't even have any rubber padding, and it left marks in the new paint. Something that I'll take care of one day when I feel more anal about it. But yeah, the 911 tank is fully done and functional. It passed all tests, and even the guy who was working at the propane place, he said that he liked this older design too, just like me. So, I guess that's that. It'll need some mild paint touch-ups. The valve that I bought for it worked just fine, but the only problem is I didn't have it in deep enough, and they said they needed more thread glue on it, so they just popped it off and put it back in. They didn't even charge me any more. It was $10 for the recertification, that's it. So, you know, that and 7 gallons of propane, roughly. I don't have the estimate on this one for how much it held, because the last time with the previous valve it held about 6.6. Now I don't know if that's what it held this time, because the old valve turned out to be junk, so it might not have filled the tank fully. So maybe it's still roughly 7 gallons. But I am happy it's done. I can just put it with the fleet of all these extra tanks here and move along.